Hello fans and friends across the universe and welcome to my YouTube channel from me to you. My name's Keir Smith. For today's video I'd like to shine a light on and talk about the closing track from Wings' wonderful 1978 album London Town. That song is of course the absolutely bonkers Morse and the Grey Goose. There's two separate camps of Wings and McCartney fans when it comes to this song. There's those that think it's brilliant and there's those that think it's an absolute mess. But I like it a lot and I'm here to tell you why. No doubt about it, Morse and the Grey Goose is an interesting composition. And I was thinking earlier, coming from a seafaring city like Liverpool, as a youth, Paul will have no doubt seen boats coming and going and seen various captains, admirals and shipmates. And I'm sure these images will have taken up a small corner in Paul's mind, and he's always been very keen to observe these characters and then bring them to life in song. Of course, we heard about A Man Who Sailed to Sea, who told us of his life in the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. We heard about Admiral Halsey on the Ram album in the song Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey, and Sailor Sam is mentioned in the song Band on the Run. So that brings us nicely to Morse and the Grey Goose, which was recorded at sea. Well, sort of. It was recorded on the luxury yacht called the Fair Carol, which was stationed at Watermelon Bay in St John's on the Virgin Islands. The song is credited to Paul McCartney and Denny Laine and was recorded between May and December 1977. And this mad sea epic follows the story of the Grey Goose, the plane, and Morse the submarine, and the radio conversation between the two. Now I'm sure many of you watching this video will be thinking, Morse and the Grey Goose is just another one of those wacky McCartney compositions where he's got a little bit carried away and it's all a bit silly really. But did you know that there was actually a boat called the Spruce Goose? No really, it was a high wing, 8 engine flying boat built for military transport in World War II. And I just wonder whether McCartney or Laine remembered that from when they were kids, or maybe stumbled across it and remembered the significance of it. And maybe that's where they got the goose from for the title. But onto the song itself now, which I think is fantastic. And it starts with that electric piano, which is fed through a processor, which creates that bleeping Morse code sound, which sounds great. And Paul himself said that that was the germ of the idea that got him and Denny interested in building on the song. And this was recorded before Jimmy McCulloch and Joe English left Wings, so there was still a 5-piece here: Jimmy, Joe, Paul, Denny and Linda. And just before the minute mark you hear Joe's shuffling drums come in along with Paul's groovy bass line. And you hear a crackled conversation on the telecommunication system between Morse and the Grey Goose. And then Paul yells out the chorus for the first time here with that great throaty vocal. And then the song lingers for a short while. It's like a short interlude. The orchestration comes in and you hear the strings and the horns swelling around those dramatic piano chords, which I love. You hear the Morse code bleeping and Paul adds some lovely bass touches too. And then we hear the sound of brisk acoustic guitars, and mid-song we're basically served up a sea shanty. But I think this is really clever, because back in the day when people worked on boats, tasks would often be long and laborious, so the workers would pass the time by singing sea shanties, which often told a story. And that's exactly what this section of the song does. The Grey Goose was a steady boat. People said she'd never float. But one night when the moon was high, the Grey Goose flew away. And I love it when the sound of that accordion comes in, which basically plays the melody of the verse, because accordions are often associated with sea shanties. So it ties in nicely with that verse and gives it an authentic feel. Now, if you're listening to Morse and the Grey Goose for the first time, you would no doubt think that that part is mad and you'd be wondering why they've put it in there. But as I've just explained, there is context there. And yes, it is mad, but it works. Anyhow, the sea shanty part fades away and then we hear this creaking sound before the song returns to its original motif with the piano. And we then hear this frazzled guitar soloing buried lower in the mix, which adds more drama to the song. The drums and bass kick in again, and along with that piano, that groove is so good. As we were sailing round the rocks, the mate took out his compass box and said the wind is like a fox, but the Grey Goose flew away. When out upon the open sea, The Admiral, the mate and me prepared to face eternity, but the grey goose flew away. And this part is great too because it's as if it shifted from a sea shanty into full on disco seamlessly. We then hear the final verse. She flew into the stormy sea. Davy Jones was calling me, but heading for tranquility, the grey goose flew away. As Paul sings there, the grey goose flew away, you hear these wonderful strings come swooping and swirling around. It's fantastic. You hear Denny singing in the background, do 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 do, yeah, yeah. And then Paul starts belting out the chorus, and then you hear Denny offering a counter vocal singing, it's a Morse was calling. It's great. I just think the way the song transforms there is so well done. The tempo's great. It's so catchy, and you can't help but sing along as Paul progressively yells out that chorus with a great vocal. And it just keeps going and going, and then it sounds as if the song's gonna fade out, and then it comes back in again with one last blast. And then finally, just before the 6.5 minute mark, it all comes crashing down. Paul's vocal, the guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, the strings, the horns, and that Morse code bleeps out. So what do I think of the song? Well, I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I love Paul's vocal here. It's full of energy and power. And just listen to his bass playing too. Phenomenal. And to incorporate all of these musical styles, pop, rock, disco, Irish folk, sea shanty, it's quite something. It is mad, but to my ears, it's brilliant. It works. The instrumentation throughout this song is so good, and it always reminds me a bit of 1985 from the Band on the Run album. It has that grand finale, that epic feel to it, minus the sea shanty part, of course. To have that germ of an idea and then build all of this music and the story on top of it's a real creative peak. And it's easy to underestimate it and consider it throwaway, but it's much more than that. This is songwriting craft at its best. And credit to both writers too, both Paul and Denny. Clearly they got their heads together and probably smoked far too much marijuana at the same time, but they threw everything at this song and they created something really great. I remember hearing this song for the first time. I first bought London Town on tape cassette, and this was some 26 or 27 years ago now. But I remember hearing it and thinking, that's good. And over the years, my love for this song and my appreciation of it has only grown more and more. And if you think I'm going over the top, then let me go over the top of that a little bit more. As I speak to you now, this is definitely my top 10 favourite Wings songs. Anyway, that's my unbiased opinion. What do you think of the song? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Is it mad as a box of frogs or a work of genius? Let me know. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for my next video sometime soon. Peace and love. Bye for now.